man masturbates in a Delhi bus in broad daylight with passengers on board. He allegedly touches his co-passenger, a young university student, inappropriately. The young girl suffered alone. All through her ordeal, as she sat beside the pervert, passengers looked on as mute spectators. But she refused to be silenced. The Braveheart took this video and put it up on social media.
There were a man who was just sitting next to me and started, he suddenly started masturbating there, and he started touching my waist. So I made a video of it, and so I got a confirmation, yeah, that's what he's doing.
The Delhi University student's ordeal did not end there. She had to wait for over 6 hours before the police lodged an FIR. And 5 days since the student was sexually harassed in full public view, the pervert still runs loose. This despite the fact that the video footage was handed over to the cops.
इस पर साउथ वेस्ट डिस्ट्रिक्ट पुलिस ने प्रॉम्प्टली केस दर्ज करके इन्वेस्टिगेशन शुरू कर दिया है और कौन था ये और क्या सर्कमस्टांसेस थे, तमाम चीज़ों की जांच शुरू हो गई है.
Nearly 6 years ago, the brutal gang rape of Nirbhaya brought into full public glare Delhi's unsafe public transport. 6 years later, election promises of bus marshals and CCTVs remain just that, promises.
मतलब ज़्यादा भीड़ होगी ना बस में तो लड़के लोग ऐसे टच करते हैं पीछे से टच करके और ऐसे ही आगे निकल लेते हैं.
कुछ बसेस में मैंने वो कांस्टेबल्स को देखा है, लेकिन जनरली नहीं होते हैं.
ये सीसीटीवी तो कभी नहीं होता. हाँ, एक कांस्टेबल होते थे पर वो भी कोई इतना ज्यादा काम नहीं के नहीं होते थे, वो सिर्फ बैठने के लिए होते हैं.
कोई भी आता है, कोई चला जाता है और जानबूझ के बॉडी टच करते हैं सब. हाँ, तो मुझे सेफ नहीं लगता.
As Delhi is shamed yet again, Mirror now asks, why isn't the police showing an urgency to arrest a pervert on the loose? What happened to AAP's election promise of making public transport safer? What kind of a city lets a woman be groped in public and merely looks on? And how many more Nirbhayas will it take for Delhi and for India to wake up and act? Let's debate.
You are with the Urban Debate tonight. I'm Seher Zama. I remember when Nirbhaya happened in the year 2012, we were all out on the streets protesting. And I also remember very clearly that it was our current Delhi Chief Minister who was also along with us in spirit, physically present in some of those protests there as well, asking for more safety and security for women in the national capital in Delhi. He squarely blamed the then Chief Minister Sheila Dikshit, saying, what if the Delhi police is not in the hands of the Delhi government? The Delhi government can independently take several measures to ensure safety and security. So when he himself came to power, when our government got voted to power in a historic landslide mandate, he made a string of announcements. The AAP government assured bus marshals, Mahila Suraksha Dal, CCTVs on streets, lighting on roads, 3 CCTVs per bus for each DTC bus, in a 5,500 strong fleet that we have of the DTC, which will be monitored live non-stop. But today, several years down the line after AAP came to power, very little of that has been implemented today. Which is why a pervert gets away with an indecent act and thinks he can perhaps repeat even a far more grievous act, another indecent, another sexual assault, and no one will raise an alarm or nab him. An FIR has been registered in the case. There is video evidence, but no arrests have been made. I'm going to throw this open to our panelists tonight on what do women in Delhi do to feel safe. We have with us Mr. Uday Sahai, who's the former IPS officer, Ms. Yogita Bhayana, social activist, Praveen Shankar Kapoor, who's the spokesperson of the Delhi BJP, Karuna Nandi, lawyer of the Supreme Court, the complainant in this case as well, Richa Pandey, spokesperson of AAP. I'm going to first go straight across to the complainant in this case. Thanks for being with us. We're not going to be addressing you by name because you've now chosen, of course, to conceal your identity. In what we've been reporting so far, what have been the assurances that have come? But first, more importantly, not just on the action that we expect from the Delhi police or the Delhi government when I ask about assurances, but first on what really played out on that horrifying assault that had taken place. If you could possibly help us understand, when you say when this happened, this was in the morning, you raised an alarm, nothing happened. If we could possibly please start from the start, right from the start on this.
It was 7th of the February when I was coming from my college. So it was like my usual schedule. Then I always take a bus from Vasantgaon to Horse Khas, and that's what I did there. I took a bus 774 and I sat down on a female seat, and the person sitting next to me, that was a unknown person. I didn't know him. So he suddenly, he tried to touch my waist with his elbow, and I was really didn't realize what's happening. First I ignored it. I just thought that maybe it was just because of the bus. But then it became frequently. So when the seat was shaking, I suddenly it suddenly got my attention there, and then I didn't look there directly. I just decided to go for a video, and that's what I did. I go for a video, and then I got a confirmation. Yes, the thing I was thinking, that's what he's doing there. I'm being harassed there. So I made a video of him, and in that moment he was continuously trying to touch my waist with his elbow. He's continuously trying to grab my attention by shaking his penis. So that's what was happening with me, and I tried to approach people there. I tried to tell one of Delhi University student who was sitting behind me. I just told her about it. I just told her that this person is masturbating here. So she just said okay. The reaction from the people were really shocking for me. It was actually really shocking. It was actually traumatic.
Right, and a day later, I believe you decided to go to the police and then file a complaint. I'm sure you took a while to recover from that trauma, to really sink in what had really happened. So you went a day later?
No, I went there after 2 days later.
Okay.
And it was 10th of February. I have been approached by Swati Maliwal, chairperson of Delhi Commission. She's really supportive in this matter. She tried to approach me. She tried to talk about this. And when she got to know about the incident, she's really being really humble about it. So I told her about the incident, and she also have seen the video. And when she got to know, she said, "I'll send you a team with you." So the next day, very next morning, we reached Vasant Vihar police station, and there were like a team of DCW there, so they supported me there.
Okay, and when you say that you raised alarm at the time of that lewd act, that indecent act there, did you inform other passengers, or were you too traumatized at that given point of time perhaps to raise a stronger alarm, or did you just raise an alarm with a co-passenger sitting behind you? I'm wanting to understand, because this being an equally shameful aspect here when we consider that no one really reached out to you at that time.
When I yelled at that person, I said, "What are you doing? Are you really ashamed? What are you doing here? Don't you have any sense?" Maybe he was drunk, or maybe he was a psycho. I don't know what he was. So when I said these words, the people were looking at me, and they were like, they didn't even said anything. They like, I was like, what's happening? Why people are not saying anything? Then I personally talked to a girl. And a guy sitting next to her, I tried to talk to them about it, and they said acha. So that was the reaction of the people, and that was really shocking for me.
Okay, and all these promises, of course, that have been made by the Delhi government, we're well aware. They say there are CCTV installed in buses, 3 CCTV cameras per bus of a DTC bus, marshals to be present there for protection as well. Were any of those measures present there in the bus that you were traveling in? 774 in the route that was taken by you.
Nobody was there, no CCTV, no marshal, nothing. So I don't feel like we are safe. I just don't feel like we are now we are living in a Delhi, the capital of India, and we are not even safe here in the capital of India. I would like to say that no doubt why it is called rape capital, no doubt on that. So my experience was really traumatized. It took really 2-3 days to get over it.
Right, and we've spoken to you earlier in the day as well, which is when you had chosen to speak out about this and report about this case and speak to the press about this as well. If you don't mind, help us understand on 24 hours having passed after we spoke to you earlier today, or now that you having chosen to conceal your identity altogether, the reason behind this possibly, is it you were feeling still overwhelmed by that trauma, or has there been an incident where you feel that you don't want to be seen and spoken about on that anymore?
See, India is a country where culprit is roaming around freely, where victim has to suffer. So I am suffering. It feels me like that I am a culprit. So it is really disgusting for me. While I was sitting there, it was really bad.
Sitting where?
Sitting on a bus.
Right.
And sitting in a police station. It was actually, I was feeling that I am a culprit.
What really happened at the police station? Were the police dragging their feet on it? Were they unwilling to believe what you're saying? Because what you also reported, and I would say fortunately in this case, which you managed to do so bravely, is to record that lewd, indecent act. There was video evidence even to show to the police that you've submitted. Was there still resistance?
I have been there for like 6 hours. I was sitting there in a Vasant Vihar police station for like 6 hours, and in that 6 hours, I completely feel ki the girls who are being raped, the girls who are being actually molested, how they feel, how they go through with all of this shit. So it's like it was really bad for me. I really almost cried there. So the response of the police station, there were actually lack of miscommunication between the SI and between the SHO. They were humiliating me. Actually, they were asking question me if someone has if that person had touched you, why the people have not seen you.
Okay. So they were trying to cross questioning you.
Yeah.
Okay, so they were cross-questioning you at this point despite visual evidence that you've submitted. What has the police stated so far? Because his face is evident, the route that he was traveling from, physically easy to locate him as well. What has the police indicated?
Right now it is nothing. They are, I guess, now they are being pressurized. So now they are ready to do, now they are willing to do anything. Otherwise, like till tomorrow, they were not ready to do anything.
All right, till yesterday is what
till
you're
yesterday,
saying.
Sorry.
Ms. Yogita Bhayana, if I could get you in at this point, this is a very brave girl that we're looking at, the complainant here, who earlier chose to speak out, is still feeling overwhelmed, still recovering from that trauma. And here we have the system which is still showing resistance, the police which is perhaps to an extent mocking because they don't look at as gruesome a crime as rape. Unfortunately, is rape always a wake-up call? Even an indecent act such as this can be equally traumatic for a person who's been through it. So for the police to react in this manner.
Seher, it's so unfortunate. This is the same police station where Nirbhaya case was reported. This was Vasant Vihar. So it's so ironical, and I really salute to her, because we all have gone through this. Some odd 20 years back in our college area, it used to be very common scene. We really had high hopes after Nirbhaya case, really had high hopes especially from the government, where the Chief Minister himself protested, as you said, for Nirbhaya case.
Along with us. We were all there. We were all there 2012.
Exactly. So we had high hopes because we thought he is a game changer because he took votes on women's safety name. We can understand very well what he can't do, but he should focus on what he can do, and we really hope, because this guy is not only a Eve teaser or just somebody who's masturbating in the bus. He must be a rapist already, or he will be a rapist in next few days if you are not catching him right there.
If he's not nabbed in time,
Exactly,
he can think he can go ahead with another such sexual assault and get away with it.
I'm sure he would have raped many, because you can easily see the confidence with which he was masturbating in public transport in daytime. He must be a rapist. So nab him. Thinking that he is a rapist, then only you will be able to do something. You don't have to wait for another Nirbhaya to happen, because this guy must be a killer as well. Because do you think if he would have seen a child roaming around without parents, he would have definitely nabbed and abuse that particular child. So I mean, you need to really open the eyes and shake up the people, because she could not even explain the passengers, explain the other co-passengers that he was masturbating, because there was lack of education on their part as well. So what are we doing in the schools? So Mr. Kejriwal, focus on what you can do. Don't focus on what you can't do. Please focus on sex education. Please focus on CCTV cameras. Please focus on what you should do.
That's right, and these were promises anyway that were made, not just in the election manifesto, were reiterated even after they were voted to power. Mr. Uday Sahai, if you could come in at this point, wanting to understand the attitude of the police here. The manner in which, one, what the complainant says, resisted to file an FIR, took them 6 hours to decide whether to register an FIR or not, cross-questioned the complainant in this.
Well, I am sad. I am sad because whatever trauma the victim underwent in the public transport, it was repeated all over again in the police station by subjecting her to 6 hours of cross-questioning, that too by male officers, before making up mind whether to take legal action or not. Now they may have registered a case.
Mr. Sahai, what is the thinking? What is the training for police officers here? For having undergone and made to witness the trauma of a shameless masturbation in a public transport system here, is that not trauma enough, or is it only rape for the police to wake up to file an FIR? Why was there, in your understanding, a resistance here? Is it not seen as gruesome a crime by the police?
No, you are right. You are right. There is a resistance because unless the extreme crime like rape happens, over which there is a consensus that immediately police should react, and they ought to be react, and they do react in most of the cases. But my view is that before rape happens, there are different shades of crime against women. Whether you are talking about stalking, you are talking about eve teasing, you are talking about molestation, you are talking about outraging the modesty of women.
And is the police force sensitized to these?
The only way out is, number one, to sensitize that these different shades of crime are as important to register immediately. So there is zero tolerance to not only rape, but the entire shades of crime against women. That kind of a top-down strong signal has to come, and which seems to be missing in a case like this, where you take 6 hours to make up your mind, and the male officers grill somebody who is already victimized and traumatized.
Mr. Praveen Shankar Kapoor, spokesperson of the Delhi BJP with us. Mr. Kapoor, in your opinion, the Delhi police being directly under the central government in the kind of training and the brief that they've been given on dealing with crimes against women?
See, whatever I heard from this girl, I really feel very sad as a citizen that she had to face the trauma altogether again. And through this channel, before coming to this channel, I had written to the Lieutenant Governor of Delhi to take action against the DTC bus driver and conductor, and now I commit that I will write to the Home Minister about this, that the SHO of the police station concerned should be asked why he did not hand over this case to a woman police officer. In fact, I feel that it should be made mandatory that such cases should be handed over to the to a woman police officer, and she be appointed.
No, but Mr.
as
Kapoor,
the
is
IO
that
of
the
team.
answer? Why cannot
really
the
very
men police force be sensitized? Why can they not be
See, it should be
sensitized and be sensitive to such cases?
But to bring a greater comfort level, for the victim, it would be good that if a woman officer is appointed. But in this case, if she has been traumatized for 6 hours, we must consider action against the concerned IO.
Okay, I'm going to nitpick you on that in just a bit, but want to take in other views as well. Ms. Karuna Nandi, lawyer of the Supreme Court, with us as well. Karuna, in your view here, what has happened is that an FIR has been registered. There is visual evidence available here. The pervert, we're going to be calling him the pervert here tonight, not even the accused, plain simple pervert is what he is here, has still not been nabbed by the police. Easily identifiable in a given area as well, in the bus route that he was traveling. How much time should a complainant wait for?
You know, there are a number of problems that have happened in this case. The first is, of course, that I think Delhiites need to start looking within ourselves. That there are certain cases in which where somebody sort of is blatantly and in the moment being assaulted, you know, by a man exposing himself and masturbating right in front of her, and you know, even though she's speaking about it, nobody just even bothers to look. You know, if he could have just been handed over then and there, then that really would have been ideal. But she didn't have that support. And I think this is a real moment of introspection for Delhiites, firstly. Secondly, there have been a number of legal problems. And despite the sort of pious hopes of the BJP representative, let us make it clear that he is not a citizen here. He is speaking for the ruling party that controls the Delhi police. Let me also clarify to him the law that in such cases, it is a woman police officer who's supposed to take the statement, so he needn't make these pious hopes about the law. Okay. More importantly, that the police, where there is a cognizable offence means that somebody can be arrested for the offence immediately. Right. So here, it is a gesture that, you know, outrages the modesty of a woman, archaic language, but it applies to this case. It's a cognizable offence, which means that the police, under the Lalita Kumari constitutional bench judgment, as well as I think under section 166A, is required to file the FIR immediately. So the fact, and I think the Vasant Vihar police needs to be asked, why was she asked to wait for 6 hours there? You know, in a distraught state, as a victim who has come forward, you know, to make sure that the state is assisted in law enforcement. Yes. Why was she asked to made to wait 6 hours there? And I think this is something that's extremely significant. And also in the trial, now forensics, we will see that this video will be sent to forensics to make sure that it hasn't been doctored, etc. So now the priority, and I think, you know, I appreciate that, you know, Mirror now tends to follow up cases. I think the first thing is that there's a very, very clear picture of this person, and the person needs to be arrested, firstly, immediately, right? And the second thing is that the process of the sort of forensic examination of the video needs to be speeded up, and this could be the subject of quite a quick trial, I think.
All right, well put there. Let's get in the AAP on this. Richa Pandey, spokesperson of the Aam Aadmi Party. Richa, we're looking at a scenario here where if the given bus had a CCTV camera, at least 3 per bus is what we were promised. This bus did not even have a single. So there was no monitoring being done anyway. If it had even a single CCTV camera, if it had even a single marshal on duty there, it would have been easier here to hand this pervert over to the police. And that hasn't happened, and it is essentially because of the failed promises of AAP.
Definitely, I will not try to shy away from any of the responsibilities of AAP government. We have promised CCTV cameras in buses, and everybody knows that they are in process, but having said that, I'm not shying away from my responsibilities, and in this case particularly I want to kudos to the girl, kudos to the victim that she is coming out in open. She is not only speaking up, she recorded the evidence and she went to such a trauma, she went to file the FIR with non-cooperative police personals, and even now she is out there talking about this thing. So for all the girls and women of our city, she is the hero. And I would like to congratulate Mirror Now also for doing your job in a very nice manner.
Richa, let's get to the point.
Of subject.
Okay, let's get to the point where you say that you don't want to shy away from your responsibilities.
Yes, there are
very clearly, if you could also see our screen playing out promises made, the date when the promise was made, the current status, and reality check on ground done by our team as well. So if you say there are 2,500 marshals of a fleet of 5,500 DTC buses, reality check is we haven't really found marshals in maximum of those routes. So we are playing out all those figures while you react to this. Go ahead, Richa.
Yeah, there are 2,000 marshals which have been deployed in the DTC buses. We have around 6,000 buses in Delhi, out of which around 2,000
but Richa, the complainant did not find any.
Deputed in the evening.
Okay, so you think you need to make a correction in that. A compulsory to have marshals deputed in the evening, they should be in the morning as well. This incident happened in the morning.
Definitely they should be in the morning, and I'm sure government is taking steps on that one. The lights in Delhi, the lighting system and dark spots have been reduced in Delhi to a greater extent. I mean, even while I'm trying to say what we have done in Delhi for women's safety, I'm not shying away from what happened today.
Right.
So please take that into
Not
consideration.
Only today,
Also, we have
it's been happening 8 months old going.
Request to LG on Mahila
Few years
Suraksha
old
Dal, but
children
that
are
had
getting
been turned
raped.
down.
It's been happening. It is not only today. It has just happened. It has been happening.
Richa, you
so
will have to
acknowledge
agree
that's
that the
problem.
process on ground has been very slow. Why has the
here
Delhi
I would like
government
to-
been on such a slow process?
Definitely. Here I would
based
like
on
to-
the kind of promises in the scenario wherein which they took over power in Delhi.
Yes.
Let's keep it that way.
Ma'am, here I would like to answer, we as a political party have tried to bounce many issues with Mr. Rajnath Singh and Honorable LG on women's security issues. One is there is no Mahila Thana in Delhi, and we have written to him so many times. I have personally met the LG and have written to Rajnath Singh that we should have at least one Mahila Thana. Earlier there was one Mahila Thana in Morris Nagar in Delhi University. Now there is no Mahila Thana. In Tamil Nadu alone there are 220 Mahila Thanas. Nationally there are 460 Mahila Thanas. But why there is no Mahila Thana when 50% of voters of Delhi
Why
are
can't we
approximately
focus on
women?
what we can
And
do
should
rather
have
than focusing
Mahila
what
Thanas.
Rajnath Singh
So
can
this
do,
is
what
not a
LG
political
can do?
point
So
that
why
I am
don't you
making.
do? Why don't you focus
right.
on what you should be doing? You know.
Let Richa complete. I'm going to then get Mr. Praveen Shankar on this. Complete your point, Richa, quickly.
See, this is putting political pressure is also our job, and that is what we are trying to do.
So, but that really hasn't worked. But given the complicated structure under which Delhi operates, Mr. Praveen Shankar Kapoor, there have been several instances here that AAP, let's be real about this, AAP in several cases has also found itself in a spot because the central government is not willing to help it. There was a proposal of Mahila Suraksha Dal as well, which was made earlier in 2014, which has now been revived years later in 2017 by the Deputy Chief Minister, Mr. Manish Sisodia, and it is primarily because there was no support that came in from the central government. Mahila Suraksha Dal is crucial for women's safety in Delhi. Why has the central government not been willing to lend a hand to the Delhi government to at least achieve some of what we've set out to do here?
Central government is always prepared to extend a helping hand. Our Home Minister has repeatedly said, our Prime Minister has repeatedly said that we are ready to extend any kind of help for the national capital. But the issue is
no, but the issue is it's not happening on ground. आपके कहने से क्या होता है कि central government will help, it is extending help. It's not happening on ground.
Richa just said that 2,000 bus marshals have been appointed.
The central government has been blocking the Delhi government since its
Please
inception.
check her facts. DTC has not yet appointed bus marshals. What to say of 2,000? Secondly,
I would like to add
on
something.
CCTV.
All right. Let's listen to the complainant here on this. She has experienced a very traumatic incident.
Today, when we are talking, 3 years of this government.
Mr. Kapoor, silent if you can, and let's hear the complainant speak on this. She has a word to say.
And she wants
Mr. Kapoor, respect the complainants that we have on the show here.
Who stops them from installing CCTVs?
Sir, I would like to add something.
Is anybody stopping them?
All right, this is ugly politics, Mr. Kapoor. Extremely undignified here. Complainants, please go ahead.
Sir, I would like to to add something with that. You're saying that Marshal has been appointed, but I want to say that if they are appointed, I'm traveling for 2.5 years from Haus Khas, from Malviya Nagar to Vasant Gaon. I have never seen any marshal there. I have never seen any CCTV camera there, and I don't even go to college from DTC bus. That is also.
I hope you will understand that thing.
I always go anywhere by bus only. So.
Richa, this is a reality check. It can't get any real this, and this is a route that we're looking at in South Delhi. So where are these marshals really? Which routes are they taking care of?
Yeah. So the 2,000 DTC buses where they are appointed during evening. That is the statistics which we have, and it is for real.
Have you found marshals in the evening?
Could you please tell me one thing? At what time they are being appointed?
Also, have you seen them in the evening?
No, never.
So what is the evening time?
Where do we find those buses?
Richa, what is the evening time? Is it 10 p.m., 11 p.m., overnight?
No, during evening, starting from 7, 8 onwards, they are being appointed, and that's what I have.
Okay, but the complainant hasn't seen any, and let me tell you, Richa, this was a ground check, a reality check that was done from our team as well. We've not found marshals on the DTC buses. ये आपके figures कहाँ से आ रहे हैं, Richa? We're curious to know.
See,
where are these figures coming from? Are they just on paper?
The Delhi government itself, so we can rectify these details from them. We can rectify these details from Delhi government. Nothing is on paper, everything is on the ground.
No. What do you mean rectify these details? Are you saying the 2,000 figure that you're quoting is incorrect then?
DTC which are not being manned right now, but they should be and they will be. Sorry?
So you're admitting that they're not being manned, that you have to rectify even the figure that you're giving out of 2,000 marshals, even that's non-existent on ground. Richa.
No, the figures which I am giving are for real, and I am 100% confident about those figures. I would not come to national television without having proper figures with me. Having said that, I am saying that there are many stretches which are not being manned by marshals right now, and in future there are plans they will be manned. Till that time, we have to take measures, and we will not shy away from our duties. There are 4 or 5 promises, and we are working on those promises, but we have to also look at the policing. Women, we need a strong police force. There should be some fear of police, of the government. There is no fear of police in people today. People are raping 6-month, 8-month-old daughters, kids. So we have to realize that this is a very deep problem. This cannot be solved by just CCTV and marshals alone.
But now you're saying that it can't be solved by CCTV. When you wanted our votes, you said CCTV will resolve everything.
And should be penalized.
Now the CCTVs are not good enough, which is why you're also backstepping on even installing them. Just 200 CCTVs on a pilot basis for 200 buses so far is what we've seen, and you've been in power for years. It's not as if that you've just come to power.
Mr. Praveen Shankar, there are measures that have been taken by the central government. Let's look at the central government's role here. Measures that have been taken by the central government. One, of course, that they have successfully stalled Mahila Suraksha Dal, which was crucial. That has been stalled by the central government, which is why AAP in Delhi is forced to revive it in a different manner involving the DCW. The Himmat app, which was installed, which was kick-started by the LG. Now this is by the central government, helped by the Delhi police, kick-started first in January 2015, updated, a so-called success that the app saw, updated as Himmat Plus, relaunched in February 2018, and how is it working on ground? It is only helping, if at all, commuters who are availing of taxi, auto rickshaw, e-rickshaw drivers, not for the buses.
And smartphone users.
And smartphone users.
Yeah, Himmat app cannot work without a smartphone. So you do expect everyone to have smartphone.
To the Nirbhaya fund till now.
So I mean, this is a super flop idea of center government and Delhi government. We have been used only for vote
claiming
banks.
it to be a success
They
and
are just
updating
using
it
us.
as a Himmat Plus. Mr. Praveen Shankar Kapoor, Himmat Plus app jo hai, in your view, how is it working on ground? Because so far, a lot of bus commuters cannot avail of it. Women bus commuters without smartphones.
See, to help the bus commuters, central government and police must upgrade it to help the people who are not using smartphones. But let us be true to the facts. Most college students are today using smartphones.
This is a bullshit
and
argument.
in this particular case, Himmat
Crazy.
could have helped.
The most weird.
No, Himmat could have helped how?
If it would have been used, maybe it would have worked. See,
but that's a
then
very
you have not
nasty
used the
presumption.
How
thing,
can an uneducated
and you are trying to
person,
blame
how
it.
can an uneducated
That is
woman
not right.
use that?
See,
Mr. Praveen Shankar, how can you make such a nasty presumption that it could have helped if it could have been used?
I am not making any nasty
What is the point
presumption.
in providing services
Here, I am
which,
all
which
with the
you
girl.
feel
I am all
an
with
only
the girl.
presumption
But
that
the
a
issue
smartphone
is
user can use?
you are not
Distribute
trying
free
to put the
smartphones
thing
from your
in
side.
the right perspective.
No,
A
I'm
victim
asking you
has
this
to use
because
the
you want to
Himmat
take
app
this. You want to take
Only
this
then
as
it
your
will go-
trump
the
card.
information will
The
pass
reason
on.
why I'm asking you about Himmat Plus
See,
app is because you use this as a trump card and say, look, this is what we've done.
Himmat
This
should
is what the
itself
center has
find
done.
the.
And it's not working on ground.
Somebody has to use the app, na? Then only the complaint will pass on. What are you trying to say?
I'm trying to say, if Himmat app is so
check out what you
successful
have
and
said,
it has been
that
upgraded in the past 3
Himmat app
years
has to be used.
Himmat Plus,
It has to be
extended
opened.
to the buses
it has
as
to be
well.
open to lodge the complaint.
Why have you not taken into account a lady commuter in a bus?
And how could they not reach
Who-
out to
who
the
says
girls?
buses have not
She
been
must not
taken
been
into
aware,
account?
otherwise she would have pressed Himmat
Your
app.
one-
Awareness
your
level
first
is
thing
zero.
was right.
How could
Your
you just
first
take
thing
our
was
money
right
and not
that it
spend
should-
in a
it should
proper
come
way?
on the
Just
other
launch
phones
apps
also,
after
not
apps,
only
not
on
having
smartphone.
awareness programs.
But when you
Have
say
you
that-
reached out to college students? No. You have not reached. Have you done any awareness programs about Himmat apps? How many women they know about Himmat apps? She would have definitely used Himmat app if she would have known it. So not many
Himmat
women.
One
app-
has to do enough research
Himmat
to know
app
about an
programs
available
have
app
been
as
done
well.
by
It's not
Delhi
being
police
promoted either.
in Delhi
Let's
University
get the former
campuses
IPS
also.
officer, Mr. Uday Sahai, in all of these jazzy apps and multiple applications, press a button and a helpline, press a button and the scream is out and you can raise an alarm, and all of these jazzy systems, does it really work on ground? And does the police even avail of this on complaints that are registered on these systems?
Well, I think one of the previous commissioners did an outstanding job in introducing certain apps which actually radicalized the police functioning. But the point is that unless I know if I am a victim, if I am a woman in this particular case, and I know that yes, there are 4 mechanisms to help myself. So there has been introduction of very interesting gadgets which can really help the victims. But there is no awareness campaign done in a sustained manner. So suppose you launch a particular app and you come out with an ad campaign for a day or 2, and then you do not advertise it at all. So the idea is the campaign works only when there is a sustainability.
Right.
If it's not sustained, it will go out of people's memory and mind. And that's what has happened.
So
in
let's
these cases.
ask the complainant here. Are you aware of any of these smartphone apps and help buttons which are available, helplines? There's so many of them.
You know, I really read.
And you regularly travel by your own using public transport. Are you aware of them?
No, not at all. You know, I really like to read political science, and you know, I really like to read news as well.
She's a aware citizen, basically.
Exactly. I go through with everything which is, you know, being projected. So I guess there's no projection of Himmat app or any other app.
All right, so this is one person that you're listening to who's a regular commuter using public transport. Where are all these apps getting lost? Is this really as a fresh system working? It was supposed to radicalize and galvanize the system and bring in security, assure safety. None of it really working on ground. Karuna, if I can get you at this point, in your view, legally speaking, to what extent these operations really help as well, which are so dependent on the use of a smartphone, which are so dependent on multiple propagation and publicity to spread the word that needs to be done by a given government?
I think apps actually end up having limited use, unfortunately, at this stage, because what they really rely on is backup enforcement. I mean, an app will only work if there's a missing link between the person who's facing an assault or facing this kind of, you know, bizarre situation, but common situation that the young woman on this panel faced. But it will only work if it's linked to a law enforcement mechanism that works and works effectively. The fact that she was at the police station and the law requires for the complaint to be registered immediately without any further inquiry, and the fact that even at the police station she was required to wait for 6 hours, I don't know. I mean, I think if somebody just called 100, then it's likely to be more effective. I think if you call 100 and, you know, the police does tend to arrive quite fast.
Okay.
I think she's saying something. Did she call 100?
That's a valid point. Yeah,
Did she try that?
Yeah. I was sitting there, and it's been like five and a half hours. So I called on a 100 number, and then they have listened to me. Just because the call is you know, now going to being recorded.
Sarah, I would like to add something here. After Nirbhaya case, you know, reforms,
so
you
can
know,
I think so this is something that she knew about, and this is something she did immediately.
She doesn't have to
we get your point. At the end of the day, it was 100 that
works
worked.
and that doesn't work.
Also,
yeah,
online FIRs, not many women would know that you don't have to go to police station in such cases. After Nirbhaya reforms, you can do online FIRs, and it is very well accepted. Just the acknowledgement, you get it through email or something like that, but it is very much there. So I mean, this is the awareness level. So that's why I'm repeating again what centre government and Aam Aadmi Party doing is just fighting between each other.
Online complaint, it's not always registered.
Exactly.
That's important to remember.
But yeah, but it is in the record.
You can make an online complaint, it's not always registered.
That's right. Richa, this is for you. You couldn't have been getting more direct personal information here from a woman who's using public transport on a daily basis, on the kind of difficulties here that are faced. What is it that you're going to take back to your Chief Minister and tell him, Mr. Kejriwal, this is what I've learned tonight on this show. There's several promises that sound good on paper, that are hardly effective on ground. What do we do?
See, first of all, I am very content that she went to DCW and DCW chief helped her. That is a very commendable thing to know.
Because she's
also.
paid for it.
No,
she takes salary for it. So
in
it's
Delhi
not
government,
nothing
DCW
favored.
You're just cheering your own colleague. Swati Maliwal did a good job, but it is her job to do that.
On the other, no, yeah, so that's what I'm appreciating the
why
fact.
You have to appreciate
anything else.
somebody? If you can condemn somebody for not doing, why you have to appreciate?
Of any organization is working. When Delhi police should have, they do not even have a sufficient amount of women police personnel.
Okay, so you're back to blaming the Delhi police. Richa, let me remind you of a tweet that was sent out from our chief minister.
I'm not saying
that
we have
2016
to help her, and we have to work hand in glove. And this
let's look at the job that the Delhi government can do independently.
Having CCTV cameras and having bus marshals. That is one small bit that we have to do.
That is a major bit.
But there are
small bits that is major.
We need to look at.
No, why are you belittling your own promise and realizing that you feel that this doesn't work right? Why not?
Ma'am, as you must be knowing that there was a Narela incident recently. There was an 8 months old girl which was raped recently. These are also related to similar.
Richa, let me remind you this. Dark spots being illuminated all across Delhi on a war footing.
We are not doing
war footing is what Mr. Kejriwal says. A big step for making Delhi safer for women. This was a tweet sent out in 2016. Yogita, any comments on this? 2016 war footing. What do we have on ground?
Exactly, nothing has changed since then. 20 years back it was same, 5 years back after Nirbhaya case it was same, and it was the same chief minister who protested against Sheila Dikshit saying you don't do 8-month-old you are talking about. We had Gudiya case then which we tried to help. Arvind Kejriwal protested against her, for her also. I mean, what has changed? So when it comes to blame gaming, please center government, Aam Aadmi government, we with folded hand we request you, please stop doing politics over women safety. Please do something. If you can't sit one-to-one across with each other, we will help you doing that. We're still paying our taxes to save ourselves. Please do something.
Praveen Shankar Kapoor, would you like to step in on this point? Promises that have been made for women's safety in the recently announced union budget.
See, I will not try to give big things, but I will
because
suggest the Delhi police should immediately run a sustained campaign, and the helpline numbers should be prominently displayed in all kinds of public transport and in DTC buses.
So why do we have a scenario today where less than 30% of the Nirbhaya fund is not utilized?
Women personnel in police.
They are telling each other what they should do.
Mr. Kapoor.
Using those funds is a joint responsibility of center and state governments. It's a joint responsibility of both the governments. And I don't
think this is a central fund, the Nirbhaya fund that we're looking at, barely 30% of it.
Delhi government could well have sought funds.
You cannot even tell me what the union budget has just announced, whether or not a percentage has been allocated for women's security. There's nothing that you know that has even been announced by the finance minister in recently, just earlier this month. Mr. Kapoor.
The fund has been there for quite long now.
Yeah.
And what's it doing sitting there?
Did Kejriwal government ever seek funds
I'm
from
so
the
glad
center?
that you're aware that the fund has been there quite long. Congratulations. Tell me what's it doing sitting there?
Do we have Delhi police that we will use that fund?
Did Delhi government ever seek funds from the center
Why
for
can't you go one step
installing
further
CCTVs? If it could not do
But Mr. Kapoor, Delhi police is under you.
Sir, we have sufficient funds. We need
Delhi
approvals.
police is under me, but Delhi police does not directly install CCTVs. It is the primary responsibility of the Delhi government to install
when you know that the Delhi police needs funds for also publicizing various measures and apps that are available for the benefit of women, why aren't you doing that?
So one thing I would like to say to you,
more personnel also they need funds.
All right.
Sir, one thing I would like to say to you that I wish you could have been a woman, so you could feel that how was I was feeling when I was there when I was feeling disgusting when I was it's so easy to do politics on this, but it's actually not easy to be a woman.
Very quickly, I'm going to take Mr. Uday Sahai on this point here on how funds can really be used and also training police officers and sensitizing them and also having them go through these sessions on how to be sensible and sensitive for dealing with these cases. But very quickly, I'm going to go to one of our callers here. I'm afraid I seem to have missed that name. From Bengaluru, Ruhi from Bengaluru, I beg your pardon. Please go ahead.
Yeah, it's Ruby Jacob.
Okay.
Good evening. Actually, I'm 40 years old, and way back in the 90s when I was a college student too. I had a similar incident to this girl. I was actually in a crowded bus and actually pushed back. So I was like so tired and I was standing and I could feel something hard, you know. And suddenly the bus stopped and we had to get down. And then when I just looked back, this man was there with this thing out. And I was so young, just 19 years old, and I just got out screaming, you know. What I'm trying to say is that things have not changed. The attitude of men from that time to this time, the only thing that has changed is that a girl can take a video clip of whatever happened.
Right, and you feel you've been so brave in calling us in tonight and sharing your experience as well. You were a young college student. It's been 20 years that have lapsed that we're looking at. A very similar experience and incident has taken place with today's complainant as well, and you put it across quite rightly. We're still fighting the system. The only thing that has changed is that at least we've been able to record video evidence now to submit to the police, so that they are forced to believe us. They are forced to believe us that this is what we face. Our next caller coming in from Bengaluru as well. Sir, please go ahead. Mr. Shankar.
Yeah, ma'am, good evening.
Good evening.
Ma'am, it is very, very frustrating to hear this. No woman will go to a police station and say that I am raped, I am molested, and the police has to show empathy, not sympathy.
Yes.
Okay, this is very bad because the police has to be trained. In India, no police officers are trained. When they wear uniform, they think they are above the law. Okay, now what I am going to do is I am going to tell my wife, my sister, my daughter to carry hammer and screwdriver and knife with them because police is not helping.
Yes, one must, should one really resort to such steps? Have we really come to this point? Many thanks for calling us and expressing your frustration with the system here. Uday Sahai, I'd like you to respond. We had one of our viewers calling in a very similar experience that she faced 20 years ago when she was in college, identical to what today's complainant has faced, and the police is still behaving in the same way.
2 points quickly. One, that Nirbhaya fund has not been utilized, and that's the moot point. It has not been debated.
Right.
The same fund could have been not only utilized by the state government but also by the center. Whether you're talking about CCTV camera, whether you're talking about deployment of marshal, whether you're talking about massive sustained campaign, 360 degree from advertising to outdoor, etc., etc. All these require money, and those money could have been utilized. I don't understand why it has not been utilized, and still there is a blame game. Point one. Point two is that, as I mentioned to you, one of the commissioners, Mr. B.S. Bassi, if I correctly remember, introduced two most radical things in Delhi police.
What is that?
He introduced an app where you can sit online at home and file an FIR yourself, and you will get a copy of FIR, and the legal validity of the copy with the insurance company everywhere you want to go stands. One, all things lost, including your license, including whatever.
Okay.
You can lodge it yourself and get a copy.
Okay. What's the second thing?
High time that maybe the other shades of crime, as I mentioned, molestation, outraging the modesty of women, indecent representation of act, women's act, and stalking, and so on. There are at least 10 of them which are codified under the provisions of law. Can we think high time to make them online? I can register myself if I am a victim. There are legal issues involved, but if there are minds put together, there is no reason this is the high time.
But Mr. Uday Sahai, you're calling them landmark suggestions, the online filing of the online FIR, this app, which is, but it's not being used by people today. The word is not spread. It is perhaps still cumbersome. You need connectivity for it at the end of the day. Data is not very good. Not everyone can have access to it on the phone. Then why is it so remarkable according to you?
Let me complete, ma'am. The two apps, two provisions for registering a FIR, they are working very well. People whose cars are lost, they are lodging that in a big manner. These two are not. There is no provision for filing online FIR in case of crime against women. Can we think of doing that? I mean, I would like to correct my old friend Mrs. Biana that actually it has not happened. It is not there. If you want to, like in this case, the victim would have wanted to lodge an online FIR. There's no provision as on date, no app as on date where she could have done that, and that's how she has gone to the police station and undergone the ordeal that we have been discussing. So maybe,
I mean, it is not acknowledged, but you can still do it. But the registration is done. I mean, it's on 1-to-1, but you can still file it online. That much I am very much sure.
You can file a complaint.
Yes.
Complaint is different from FIR. People
yes.
All right, so you can file the complaint, but not the FIR. It is still not working on ground. We appreciate you setting the record on that here. Yeah. Karuna, if you could come in at this point once again. Okay, we seem to have lost Karuna at this point. We're very quickly reconnecting with her on that. But this issue here that has been, I'm going to still ask Mr. Uday Sahai, technically speaking, now we're struggling with help that is available on ground vis-a-vis a lot of online applications and push a button and dial so-and-so helpline, out of which it's evident that at the end of the day, what has been working best for years is what has been available on ground. Do you think we are still falling short of making it more convenient for a given complainant, for a given victim here to walk into the police station or not be required to walk into the police station to register an FIR? Why are we still struggling as to what we were not as technologically savvy 20 years ago?
Get your question. What exactly you are trying to ask?
What I'm trying to ask is, we've not progressed given the system.
We have progressed, but not substantially enough, number one. And high time that we progress and get into this domain and differentiate between other heinous crime from social crimes against women. Once we have this, there will be no pressure as it is, undue
But you
pressure.
sound very comfortable, Mr. Uday Sahai. You sound very comfortable saying that we have progressed just a bit. But I'm looking at 20 years. I'm looking at also at a time after an extreme situation, a case of Nirbhaya in 2012. I don't think we should just sit back satisfied that at least we've just progressed an iota, just a fraction.
Yeah, you are right. I mean, I'm saying that we have made incremental, progress. But there is a need to get into a quantum progress which you are talking about, and that to my mind is possible if we segregate normal crimes from crimes against women and give a free hand to the victim to lodge her own story, legally speaking, not complain. Complain they can, even today, but complaint has to be converted into an FIR.
And how about using available unused funds for sensitizing police officers in the police station? They're still not sensitive enough to various levels and layers of what an assault entails.
Exactly, and not only, I mean, there are two sides of the story. The victims are also not sensitized that they have certain provisions which can protect them. And the police at the same time have a very, very old, archaic, feudal mindset. So if you go to a police station, I mean, like when you go to a police station to lodge a theft complaint, they would presume, by default that you have come because you wanted to get insurance money. But this kind of a mindset also extends to cases where you have gone with your own tragic story of being harassed or tortured.
All right. I have very little time. Final word for the complainant here on what you've experienced. First of all, thank you very much for being here with us and sharing this horrifying experience. We really, really appreciate it that you've spoken out. But what do you think today? What has really helped, going to the police or speaking out in the media, and what do you expect now? Is the arrest going to be made? Is the police still serious enough?
See, I would like to say that the person should be arrested now. Yeah. The person should be, behind the bars. And I would also like to add on this that the people, the person who got a limelight, he is not the only one. There are many other men who are doing this and continuously doing this with many women, but they are not being caught just because we are not standing up for ourselves. Right. So I think women should now stand up for themselves and they should do something for it. I am here after fighting my mom about this, and she was like, don't go there, and the media house and nothing, nobody gonna do anything. But I'm still here just to aware people just to I stood up just to aware people that this is the peak now. We have suffered a lot. We have to go long way. So this is the peak time. You should stand up for yourself.
And let me assure you, we are here with you. We're going to be making sure that this is taken to the logical end. We're going to be making sure that the Delhi Chief Minister wakes up on all that has not been done, on massive promises that he made. We're going to make sure that the central government is going to wake up as well and learn how to work as a team with the Delhi government for the sake of security of women across the national capital, in this particular case, of course, but in across the country as well.
Also, there's a request for all the politicians and all the people who are just doing politics on this. Please don't do politics on this. This is a serious matter. Please don't do politics. Please, I'm requesting you. Please take it very seriously. We are suffering here and nothing is happening. I'm just really ashamed that nothing is happening in this country. We have a lot of law and orders, we have many qanoon, but they are not working in the ground. So where are they? Where are the marshals? Where are the CCTV cameras? They are not there.
And that is a direct message here, not to play petty politics, which is what unfortunately we've seen between the BJP and the AAP tonight as well. I'm going to let the complainant have the final word on that tonight. Do not play petty politics. This is a voice who wants to fight for her rights and dignity, and she's doing it, and she's realizing that one still needs to struggle with the system. Thanks for being with us.